guys! So over the last few years, I have taken a real interest in meditation. I guess like many of you guys as well, because it's become so much more popular, so much more mainstream with the likes of the Headspace and Calm apps and plenty of others as well. The problem is, despite knowing it does me the world of good, and when I do actually meditate, I feel so much better for it, I've never actually been able to get into the habit of doing it every single day. Hit the like button if you can relate to that. I would basically go for like weeks of doing it every single morning. I would get into a practice of doing that, and then something would happen outside of my normal routine. It would just throw me off and I can't get back into the rhythm of it. So this January, I decided to actually challenge myself, and I decided that I was going to make sure I meditated every single day for at least 10 minutes. So the first few days I felt amazing. I was posting on Instagram, reminding all of you to actually join in this challenge with me. I was letting you all know how good I felt. Generally, I was just feeling really positive at my new habit. It was the beginning of a new year, and yeah, I was just happy to kind of get into this challenge and yeah, kind of make the most of it really. Then I would hit like a bump in the road, so to speak, because we all have these. You go through like a couple of weeks where you're feeling good, and then something happens and it kind of knocks you out of balance. And in those moments, I kind of felt like, is meditation really working? Like, I feel like it's fine when I'm feeling good, but then if something happens, is it really helping and benefiting my life? Because I was having some days where I felt pretty low, I was having quite bad anxiety, and in general, I just wasn't feeling that good. So I was really questioning like how effective meditation actually was. The more I kind of read into this and listened to meditations, like guided meditations on the Calm app, I realized meditation isn't that. That is a massive, massive mistake to make if you're gonna go into meditation, is believing that it's gonna be like a fix all to your happiness, I guess, and that just is not the case. Like, it is definitely a mood booster, but in all honesty, it is not there to serve a purpose of having some amazing experience, life-changing, altering way of seeing the world. Like, it isn't going to do that. It's really just a practice to give yourself time to process emotions. And quite honestly, that is what it should be doing, and that is definitely what it was doing. I think I just had these really unrealistic expectations. So because this was a challenge, I obviously decided to persevere and keep going with it. And potentially there have been times in the past where I'd meditated regularly and then something big had happened, completely thrown me off, and I decided, oh wait, no, this isn't working. And it kind of, yeah, you lose your momentum, you lose your enthusiasm for it. I actually think having that period of anxiety crop up was really beneficial for this experiment, because what it actually taught me after I kind of come out of it was that meditation actually does really help how you approach a situation. Like, you don't realize it's happening, but over time, if you're meditating regularly, you realize you are able to calm yourself a little quicker or a little bit more easily than perhaps you would have done in the past. And I certainly noticed that, yeah, my ability to think before I acted was improving. Because I'm not gonna lie here, I do have a tendency when something really stressful happens to just approach it in a really manic kind of way. I tend to get really, really stressed and just kind of flare up, which obviously definitely isn't a healthy approach to life. So by the end of week 3, I really noticed that that was improving, like my ability to calm myself down when something stressful was happening and actually think and take logical, like rational action towards it, which is a massive improvement for me. And I really, really do think meditation has had a big part to play in that, particularly the kind of guided meditations on the Calm app, which basically teach you those methods of like thinking things through, taking a breath, like listening to the breath, like finding something else to focus on really. It's been particularly testing because I'm getting married abroad this year and the wedding's in about 4 months' time. And yeah, lots of things are cropping up that are super stressful. And I definitely think meditating as regularly as I am at the moment is certainly helping me manage that. Something else that's been a really significant change for me that I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 weeks is my breathing. I know that obviously breath work is a big topic when it comes to meditation, and certainly it's something I've been like learning as I go, like over the last few years, but really understanding breath work and really trying to find ways in which you can concentrate on the breath, basically manipulate the breath to make you feel good, is something I've been really, really, really homing into. For example, because I've become so much more aware of it, I've noticed that when I'm at work, or if I'm just doing something like a task that involves me concentrating, I'm finding that I hold my breath. Like, even when I'm responding to DMs on Instagram, if I've got a long list of them and I'm going through them, I catch myself holding my breath, which is really not a healthy habit to have at all. And honestly, no wonder I feel so like, oh, like uptight and my shoulders hurt by the end of the day if I'm replying to emails. So yeah, noticing that, I can then actually alter that. So whilst I probably am not completely stopping it, I do catch myself doing it, and I can say, wait a minute, let's take a breath, relax for a second and come back to it. One great breathing method that I think has really helped me is the idea of box breathing. So you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, and then exhale for a count of 4. And doing that a couple of times really does calm you down. Like, you would be absolutely surprised that this sort of very basic and easy breathing method really, really work and contribute to you feeling better. Yeah, I feel good. Another reason I've given up on my meditation practice in the past is purely because it doesn't fit into my routine, or something in my routine would have changed and I'm not prioritizing it. So I have found that making it part of my actual work day has really helped. So rather than having to like squash it in before I go to work, or like remember to do it when I come home from work when there's a million other things to do, I've actually been doing it in my lunch break. And I do this by honestly just going to a bathroom cubicle, like a toilet cubicle, and putting in the Calm app like in my headphones and sitting there for 10 minutes, and that really helps. Or if I'm at the gym on my lunch break, I'll make sure when I come out of the shower, again, I put my headphones in and I can sit there for 10 minutes, just somewhere that's completely private that you know you can relax in. I also think during the day, like the working day, is probably when you need this the most. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like super stressed out because the day has not even begun. And likewise at the end of the day, when I come home from work, I have lots of things I need to be getting on with, and sometimes I just don't prioritize it. So definitely doing it in the middle of the day when you need it, when there's still so much left to do, I think that's a really, really important practice, and I can't recommend it enough. So another thing that I noticed was that my sleep was actually starting to improve. And when I've meditated in the past, I've noticed this pattern as well. So I was quite excited when I realized that my sleep was really improving. I do find that I'm always the last one to fall asleep between me and my fiance. He tends to fall asleep super easily, and yeah, I'm kind of left lying there like, I don't know if anyone else has this, but I always hate being the last one to fall asleep. But I've noticed, other than maybe a couple of bad nights, that my ability to fall asleep quite quickly has definitely improved. And there could also be 2 other things that have contributed to this. So one being that I'm using blue blocker glasses. These things. So basically they help block out any of like the screen lights, the artificial lights. So in the evening I pop these on, and it helps to basically regulate your circadian rhythm so that your brain knows, okay, it is now time for sleep. Like there's not been any daylight, any blue light for a few hours, and so you can kind of very easily drift off into a good sleep. I definitely don't suit glasses, but I am a big fan of these. Like I'm happy to wear these in the evening at home. I have also been doing a lot of walking recently. Like it is my favorite thing to do, which makes me sound quite old, I know, but I actually prefer it to any other exercise and any other kind of form of meditation. I still believe walking is meditating. I usually pop on like a really great playlist or a podcast, and I go out and I just walk. I've been exploring my local area, like at the weekends or if I'm working from home. And then I've also been doing that around where I work. I just go out for half an hour or 45 minutes and just walk for as far as I can and come back and just feel a lot better for it. So I think the walking is definitely contributing to my sleep patterns as well. I've heard that this improves more as time goes on, and I think actually I was watching a video a couple of weeks ago by, is it Nathaniel Drew? I want to make sure I've got that right. Yes, Nathaniel Drew, talking about his experience with meditating every day for a year. That video was really, really helpful. So if you haven't seen that already, I will link it in the description box below. Definitely worth checking out. And of course, I couldn't make a video talking about an experiment to do with health and not talking about my skin at the same time, because as you all know by now, I have very acne prone skin, and if something's helping or benefiting my health in some way, I also hope that it will have an impact, a positive impact on my skin. I keep an acne journal, which I actually created and is available for you guys as well, where I do track my meditation in there too. Like I have a mindful tracker. And so yeah, I can actually track that alongside with my skin, and it's definitely been a huge improvement. I think there's been lots of things that factor this at the moment, but meditation is certainly something I've been doing, as I said, every single day in January, and my skin has been super clear, guys. Like I don't think I've broken out once. I always notice that my skin is a lot worse when I'm going through a period of stress, or if I find that something's really upset me. I do see that on my face. And whilst there's been lots of things going on that could potentially break me out, usually, I think meditation has actually helped my kind of response to stress. Obviously, you're never gonna eradicate things that are stressful in life, but knowing how to approach them and how to deal with them really kind of like lowers your response, your stress response. And I think things like your hormones in terms of cortisol are also lowered when this happens. So yeah, I just think the benefits have been amazing, and if it's going to help my skin as well, you know I'm going to be continuing this. I've also been really enjoying making like a mantra to meditate on each month and kind of having an intention on my mindful tracker, which is in my Skin Story journal. I just write something down each month, and I did that for January, and it was super lovely to always reflect on that. I feel like they're very personal, so I'm not going to share exactly what mine was, but maybe I'll put a few up on screen now, things that you could maybe consider as your mantras, just so that you know you have like an intention when you are sitting down to meditate every day. Another great thing that's gone alongside my meditation practice, and obviously having that mantra there, is having a daily gratitude practice, which is something I've spoken about quite a bit over on Instagram over the last few years, but really and truly, like, incorporating that into your meditation practice makes you feel 10 times better. So I normally do my daily gratitude. I write that in my journal as well, in the same mindful tracker. I write my gratitude for that day, and once that's written down, I can remind myself of that when I'm about to meditate. So yeah, there's some really lovely things that you can include. They don't have to be really huge things. Sometimes I include things like, I'm grateful that I've got a new podcast to listen to, for example, so they don't have to be huge things, but it is a great tool just to make you feel good. So my meditation practice is now definitely one of my favorite healthy habits that I've learned. And in fact, I actually made a whole video talking about all the healthy habits I've learned by the age of 30. If you want to check that video out, and I highly suggest you do because there's tons of great info in there, then I'll put the little box up on screen now. I'm not sure what side it is, but click that box and I will see you over there. Thank you guys.